Hello everyone, I welcome you back to my YouTube channel Tech Basics. Hope you are enjoying watching my videos. So this is for you. So today we'll try to understand the concept of arrays in C language. So first of all, we need to understand here what exactly we mean by an array, and then why is that we need to make use of an array in C language. So whenever you want to store the data, and if you want to store, say, the names of 100 students, or you want to store the marks of 100 students, you can very well do that in the form of an array. So an advantage with an array you get is whatever data you accept will be stored, and then later you can make use of that particular data for any kind of processing. So how is that we are going to define? Array will store the data in a sequential form and in a fixed size as declared. So initially we need to tell our compiler that I want to store 10 numbers, and also I need to tell the compiler that I want to store 10 numbers of type integer, or of type float, or of type character, and so on. So we can define an array as a kind of data structure that can store a fixed size sequential collection of elements of same data type. So if I write integer a of 5, how is that you are going to write an array or declare an array? You are supposed to say type here, which type of array you want, and then you need to give some name for an array. It can be any name of your choice, and then you are supposed to mention the size over here. So in this way, if I am going to declare the type as integer, meaning of that is I want to store the numbers over here of type integer, and all the numbers that you are going to store in this array will be of type integer only. So you will say integer, that is the type of an array. Name, you can give it as a is the name, and the size is 5. So when you say integer a of 5, meaning of that is you have reserved 5 memory locations in order to store the data of type integer. So for these 5 locations, the name given will be a, that is what you call it as an array name, and then in each of these locations you can store the data which belongs to integer data type, and each of these location can be referred as a of 0 is the first location. So you will say here a of 0 for the first, a of 1 is the second, a of 2 is the third, a of 3 is the fourth, and a of 4 is the fifth location, and so on. It is something like a building. When you construct a 5-storied building, you will start with a ground floor. So a of 0 can be considered as ground floor. This is the first floor, second floor, third floor, fourth, and so on like. So always your array starts with a of 0. So here a of 0, we can also call it as a subscript variable. So we'll try to understand this more in detail. So then you can declare an array saying integer a of 10. Meaning of that is you are going to reserve 10 memory locations in order to store data that belongs to a type called integer. And the name that you are giving for all these values will be a. In the similar way, you can say float a of 10. Similarly, you can say character a of 10. So here you are going to store float values. Here you are going to store character values, and so on. So in an array, you are going to store elements which will be of the size that you mention over here, and all the elements will belong to a single data type. So all these 10 numbers should be of type integer. As in this case, when you say a of 5, all the numbers should be of type integer only. So just go with initialization of arrays. How is that you can store the numbers in an array? So you can say integer a of 5 equal to, you need to make use of these curly braces, and then you write 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Meaning of that is you are storing 10 in the first location, 20 in the second, 30, 40, 50, and so on. So these a of 0, a of 1, a of 2, a of 3, a of 4, we are going to call them as subscript variable. So the name of the array is a, but part of that array, if you want to access the first location, you cannot say a, you have to say a of 0. So always a of 0 is going to be the first location in the array, and if it is an array of 5 elements, a of 4 is going to be the last location, and so on. So we can access a value from an array by using the array name and a subscript variable. So if I want to display all the numbers from this array one after the other, what I can do is I can say printf %d a of 0. So it will display the value present at a of 0, then a of 1, then a of 2, then a of 3, then a of 4, and so on. So instead of I writing this printf statement for 5 number of times, what you can do is, for this you can make use of a for loop or a while loop or a do while loop, and then you can change this subscript variable from 0 to 4 over there, and so on. So this is how you are going to access the elements which are present in an array. So initialization can be done in this fashion, and then you can access the values of a particular location using a subscript variable called a of 0, a of 1, and so on. Let's try this with some example over here. So let's try to write some program over here accepting the data using arrays. So what is that you want to do in the first example? You want to accept 10 elements of type integer using an array, and you want to display them. So what is that we want to do here? We want to take an array of 10 elements, but it should be of type integer. You want to accept the values, and then you just want to display them. Okay, so how is that we are going to perform this? So go to our online compiler over there. Now, if you want to accept 10 numbers over there, as you know, of type integer, you are supposed to say array name. Any name you can give over there. It's not compulsory that it should be a. So you can say integer a of 10, comma I. Okay, so when I say integer a of 10, meaning of that is my numbers will be stored from a of 0 to a of 9. So what is the message you give to the user now? You can give the message to the user saying enter 10 numbers in the array. Numbers in an array. So that's your choice, what message you want to give. And then how is that you are going to accept 10 numbers? I cannot just write scanf for 10 times. I cannot say printf %d ampersand a of 0, a of 1, so on for 10 number of times. So what is that I need to do for this? So I know that my numbers will be stored from 0 to 9. So I will write a for loop over here or a while loop wherein you start with 0 and then you go up to less than 10. So less than 10 is it will go up to 9. And then instead of you writing a of 0, you write here a of I. So what is the meaning of this now? So what happens here? When I value is 0, you know that your numbers will be from a of 0 to a of 9. So when I value is 0, you will be accepting the first element, and that will be stored in a of 0. Address will be given by this ampersand. Then the I value will increment. So the next number will be stored in a of 1, a of 2, a of 3, so on. It continues up to a of 9. So once you accept all the numbers, then you can print or display these numbers. So you can say numbers accepted. Some message you can give. Numbers accepted are. So again, when you want to print, you have to print 10 numbers. So you need to write again a for loop. You can say I less than 10, I plus plus, and instead of using scan, now you will write printf %d. If you want one by one, you can use an escape sequence and then display the values in this fashion. So it's very simple. It's just a 2-line program wherein you are saying scanf and you are saying printf. But whenever you write a scanf statement, as you have to accept more than one number, you have to write a for loop for that. And whenever you write a printf statement, as you have to print more than one value, you have to write a for loop before that. Now try to execute this particular program. So your program says enter 10 numbers. So you can give any 10 numbers, but that should be of type integer. So you can give any number like this. You can see there, I have given 10 numbers. It will take only 10 numbers because you have written a loop which will run for 10 times, and then it is going to print all the numbers that you have given, right from the first number to the last number. The first number was 22 and the last number was 100. So this is how you can declare an array. Then this is how you can accept the values in an array, and this is how you can display the values in an array. So as I told you, whenever you say integer a of 10, meaning of that is it is going to reserve 10 memory locations, and each of these location will have the name, that is a subscript name, variable name, from which starts from a of 0 and it will go up to a of 9. So let's try to do the next exercise. The next exercise is accept 10 numbers of type float using an array and display them in the reverse order of acceptance. So what is that we need to do now? A small change in the program that you need to, I will just rewrite the program. You need to declare now an array of type float. So I will declare float a of 10, and then I will take a variable called I, because I have to run a for loop over there, and the for loop will go from 1 to 2, 2 to 3 and so on. So it should be of type integer. So then give the message to the user as we have done previous. You can say to the user enter 10 float values. Then you can write a for loop again for I equals to 0, less than 10, I plus plus. And then in order to accept, you will write %f ampersand a of I. So this is how you are going to accept. Only the difference is there it was integer earlier case, now it is float. And then while you print, you can say printf 10 numbers in the, we want to print them in the reverse order, So how you are going to print? If I write from I equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus, you know that you are going to print the numbers as you have accepted, but you want from the last number to the first number. So what is that you do? I equals to 9. You start from the last number and then you say I greater than equal to 0, I minus minus. So you are coming down from the last location to the first location. So the last location is a of 9. So go from 9 to 0. And then what do you do here? You say printf %f. You can use \n over there, and then you can display a of I. So now what is going to happen? You are accepting the numbers and your numbers are stored from a of 0 to a of 9. But while displaying, you are displaying the last number first, then the next last number, and so on. So try to run this particular program. So give some values over here of your choice, any number of your choice. So you have to enter 5 numbers over there. Sorry, 10 numbers you have to enter. Okay, while you execute, you can do it only for 2 numbers, or sorry, 5 numbers. That will be easy. Now you can see over here, your last number is 15.6. So you got the last number 15.6, then the next last number 87.88, and then the next last number 76.77, then the next last number 66.78, and so on. So if you want, you can also do rounding for this particular number, that we'll try to discuss separately. So now you can see the last number, the first number will be displayed at the last, and the last number will be displayed at the first. So this is how you can declare an array which can be of type float, which can be of type integer. You can display the numbers by accepting the numbers, and you can display it in the same order as you accept, or you can also display it in the order which is reverse of what you accept, and so on. Yeah, we'll try to now solve the third example over here, wherein in case of arrays, you want to do this and then you want to accept 10 numbers which should be of type integer, but you want to do that in the form of an array, and you want to display alternate numbers starting from the first number, which means what? You are going to first accept 10 numbers, but while you display, you want to display the first number. Alternate means what? First number, third number, fifth number, seventh number, and ninth number. So how is that we are going to perform this? So you can take an integer array or a float array of your choice, that's not a problem. Then you are going to first accept 10 numbers. So you will write this particular statement, enter 10 numbers. You will ask the user to enter 10 numbers. Then you can write a for loop for that. For I equals to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. You can say scanf %d ampersand a of I. So that is how you accept 10 numbers. And now what is that you want to do? You want to print alternate values. You want to print alternate numbers. So what is that you do for that? You start with the first number means it is at 0. And then you have to go up to the last number. And then what you need to do, instead of you incrementing by 1, now you increment the value by 2. So what happens? Initial value of I will be 0, which will be the first number. Then I gets incremented by 2. The next value of I will be 2. 2 means it is the third number. So then you can print here, print %d \n a of I. Okay, so when I is 0, it will print a of 0. When I is 2, it will print a of 2. When I is 4, it will print a of 4. So 0 means the first number, 2 means the a of 2 means third number, a of 4 means fifth number, and so on. It will print till last. So you can just try understanding here. You can enter 10 numbers first. Any integer value you can enter over there. It's not compulsory. You have to do the same. So how the numbers will be printed? It should print 100, 300, 500, 700 and 900. Sorry, 900 I have not given over there. I have given 800 twice. So you will get 800. Redo this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and then 10. So it should print 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 and so on. So this is how you can accept the numbers. And you can print all the numbers, you can print alternate numbers, you can print the numbers in the reverse order or in the order of acceptance and so on. So let's try to go with the next example. What is that? You want to accept 10 numbers in an array and you want to display only those numbers which are divisible by 10. Now here you want to check which of these 10 numbers are divisible by 10. And only those numbers you want to print. So while printing, you need to check for the condition over here. You have to make a decision, and you know whenever you want to go for a condition or make a decision, you will make use of if and else statement. So how is that we are going to do this? So again, you declare an array of 10. And then you can give a message. The first part almost the same. You can say enter 10 numbers and then you can accept by writing a for loop. Same as what we have done in the previous example. And then you say scanf %d ampersand a of I. So that will accept 10 numbers for us. Now what is that you have to do? You have to print numbers which are divisible by 10. So what are the numbers that are divisible by 10? You want to print them. So how is that you write? You say for I equals to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. So you need to check all the numbers whether they are divisible by 10. So in a for loop, what do you do now? You have to write multiple statements. So you say if a of I. How you check whether it is divisible by 10? You need to divide by 10 and then you need to check for the remainder. And if the remainder happens to be 0, then that particular number is divisible, otherwise no. So how you are doing this? You are written a loop which will go from 0 to 9. So the 0, a of 0 divided by 10. That is first number divided by 10. Reminder is 0. If it is yes, what do? You say divisible by 10. Number is divisible by 10. You can write like this. Number is divisible by 10. And what is that number? Equal to percent %d, a of I. So you need to write in this fashion. So when it will execute this particular statement, when the number is divided by 10 and the remainder happens to be 0, then it will display the number, otherwise no. So out of all these 10 numbers, it may display all the numbers or only all the numbers which are divisible by 10 and not every number that is in the array. So what do you do now? You try to give some numbers over here. You try to give some numbers which are divisible by 10, which are not divisible by 10, and so on. So see here, I have not given backslash n over there in the output. So better you give that, better you write here number divisible by 10 backslash n. Or you say just divisible by 10. Okay, some message. Just see this. 1 1 2 2 3 3 40 50 60 7 8 8 9 9 100 110 and so on. So see now, 11 is not divisible, 22 33 not divisible, so 40 50 60 divisible, then 88 99 non-divisible, 100 and 110 is divisible. So you will get only those numbers which are divisible by 10. So you can practice this by saying numbers which are divisible by 5, numbers which are divisible by 3, as well as 5 numbers which are prime, and so on. So in such a way you can put practice for the programs with arrays and so on. So then I have one more exercise which I leave it to you. An example 5 here. Accept 10 numbers in an array of type integer, and you want to display now first number, second number, fourth number, and seventh number. So you don't want to display them in the order of acceptance, or you don't want to display all the numbers, you don't want to display alternate numbers, you only want to display the numbers in this fashion. You want to display the first, you want to display the second number, fourth number, and seventh number. You try to execute this particular program. If not, we'll try to solve this in my next video. Thank you.